Hello, everyone online. I'm Scary, and this is the Monday Show, a bonus Patreon show that I do for patrons every Monday. And today, we're opening up the vaults and letting all of you enjoy the Monday Show. It's also mixed in with the list crunch from Friday. I had some family stuff, so I ended up pushing it, and today we're doing two. So, the Monday show is a variety, sort of like podcast style show. So, put down, relax, we'll talk about a variety of things that matter to me in the hobby. We talk about questions that are submitted by the patrons, and then I'm going to do the list crunch, which is something I do every Friday for patrons, where you submit an army list, and I get to break it down. I read it, give you my thoughts, all that good stuff. Now, every once in a while, I open the vaults and do it as a public for all of you so you can all watch it and enjoy and see what you're missing by not hopping onto the Patreon. Anyway, let's jump on and do some stuff. It's been a crazy week in Warhammer. This was like the first week that we had some really good numbers from the balanced data slate update, which has kind of taken the meta by storm. There's a whole bunch of people going outside and playing, and now we're seeing sort of like the impact that a lot of those balance updates and changes had on Warhammer 40,000 at a competitive level. You know, Eldari taken down a peg. We have Custodes that has gone down a peg, and then we have the up-and-comers. We have Guard. We have some other ones that are really doing some work out there. Hello, Sindri. How's it going? Thanks for coming to hang out. In chat, I will be reading the comments. So make sure you leave a comment if you want me to read the comment as well. And then we've got a bunch of lists from a bunch of the patrons, which is really exciting. I can't wait to sort of break those down for all of you and give you my thoughts. If I came across very happy and excited, it's because that's who I am, and that's what I do. And I hope you suck it up and get excited about me being excited. Haha. Or just downvote for Scary. Whichever works for you. I also have a delicious cup of coffee in my central perk mug. Boo! Brought to you by no one. I just own this mug because it's cool. That's the spirit. Death Guard as powerful as the words have said. Death Guard are definitely up and like they're good. You know, they're not bad anymore. That's for sure. They got some points adjustments, and I do think that Death Guard have some really cool play. You know, we took Death Guard to the event that we went to, the Stutter Snotling, last weekend, and our Death Guard player did some crazy work with it. You know, huge shout out to Cody who played on the team for the weekend, and he was just like doing so much better than we expected Death Guard to do. You know, originally we just did Death Guard because he wasn't vibing with the Chaos Demons, and then he like was just pulling points and winning games and going into like some really tough matchups. Like he was crushing people with just like a Death Guard list. It wasn't really refined. It was just like what he had painted and like Terminators and Plague Marines and some Plague Burst Crawlers and things like that. And all in all, it was pretty intense. Yeah, I think it works. You know, let me know what you think down below, which is the biggest impact or the biggest changes that they did with the Balanced Slate update in Warhammer 40,000, like just in general. Death Guard shenanigans enacted. Well, you know, it's definitely something. I tell you, it's definitely something. Okay. So let's dive in to, first and foremost, something that mattered to me in the hobby. And that is, oh my goodness, is Baldur's Gate good? I've been playing so much Baldur's Gate lately. I need help, okay? I haven't been sucked in by a game so much. I haven't been sucked in by a game so much in like 10, 20 years. Since I was like 16. You know what I mean? Like, that's how long it's been since I've had a game, like, just consume my life. Other than Warhammer. So I've been having a lot of fun with that game. So I don't need to go into much details other than I've been playing a lot of Dungeons & Dragons, apparently. And it's just been crazy. Yeah, that's kind of how that goes. Other than that, been good. I've been doing some hobby stuff. I've been building and painting Black Templars. I filmed another battle report today, in the new studio. So the new studio is at the Tabletop Forge in Barrie, Ontario. And it's been awesome. I've had guests come in and play games with me. And I hope you've been enjoying the battle reports if you've caught them. But it's nice to have a variety. I love having John on, and I love having Tyler on and Rob on, like the regulars I've had on for 3 years. But it was like, how many varieties of Necrons versus Drukhari can we come up with? That was kind of what it came down to. And in 4 weeks, I've had Guard, Space Marines, Inari, Tau. Like, there's some. I've been having a lot of fun being able to showcase a variety of different factions in the universe. Okay, let's see if I can make this. There we go. This chair a little taller upper. There we go, something like that. I don't know why this chair is being so silly. Anyway, so that's been really fun. And it's nice if you are nearby on Barrie, Ontario, Canada, and want to come and play with me, please send me a message, and we will schedule something. I have a couple of spots in October left and a few in November. And then we'll be booking into December and like January, because if you want to come play with me. It's going to be fun. It'll be a fun, entertaining time. Okay, without further ado, let's dive into why you tuned into the show after 6 minutes of me rambling randomly. The Monday show. Let's talk a couple of questions. Number one, Maxim asks, yeah, some incubi on the table. Yes, I posted a behind-the-scenes picture of my battle report from today that I played, and it was I played a battle report, and I did include Drazar and a bunch of incubi. Yeah, that was actually really fun. I was pleasantly surprised at how much they killed, and to the point where I'm like, they're doing so well, I'm probably going to have to test this at some point again. That means they're going to have to make it into a list again. And everybody's like poo-pooing like Dark Eldar players about like Drazar and Incubi and Lilith and witches and and I say nay. I'm gonna try it out. And I think there's some potential there. As much as I hate to admit it, I'm gonna have to try it more. But I think there's some really good potential with those units. How did they do? They did very well. Of course, the battle report will be up next week on Friday. Of course, it'll be up before that for patrons. But, they killed way more than I expected them to. And they survived longer than I expected them to as well against, like, Tau. Like, Cyclic Ion Blaster, Tau, Army of Death. Scary Rambling, say it ain't so, LOL. Is that, like, my brand? Me rambling? I certainly hope that's not just my brand. It reminds me of that one time where I joined a dance troupe and we traveled across Canada and the US and danced when I was 18. Fun times. And on another rambling note, this September is the time I have officially spent more time in Canada than I did while I was growing up in Mexico. So this month, officially, I have now been in Canada more time than I was ever in Mexico. Not an Iron Warrior says, hi, hi. Hi, hi, not an Iron Warrior. No, you're awesome, man. Thanks, Sindri. I don't mind if people think I'm rambly. Like, I don't care. But other than that, Maxime, thank you so much for your question. I really appreciate it. Thanks for participating in today's Monday show. The RPG Luminary asks, after week 2 of the new data slate, do you think they knocked it out of the park with the rebalance? Not knocked it out of the park, but decent step in the right direction. Also, what's your favorite pizza topping? I'll get to that in a second. But let's go back to your first question. So, the rebalancing really changed or shook up what people thought about the meta. And you can agree or disagree with me. This is an open forum, okay? This is literally the whole point of these videos. It's like hot takes, every Monday evening with Scary. Because I tend to, put a couple of videos online and talk about, and I try and stay really positive and stuff. And honestly, the update was positive. They done goofed on a couple of things. Like, I feel they overhit knights a bit, and they kind of they're not perfect. The thing that really surprised me about the balanced data slate update is I think originally it was supposed to be just points, and they were like, we're going to update the points, and they noticed that that wasn't going to fix some of the inherent ground issues of the edition. So they went back and like literally changed game mechanics, which is like good in a way because we don't have to be stuck playing with bull crap, for like, too long. But at the same time, it's also bull crap because we've bought books and cards and infrastructure and like a whole bunch of stuff where we've like spent money on an unfinished product. Mohas Gridlock says, drug rug. Love it. You mean this? Is that what it is? A drug rug? What? Well, fine. I'm wearing a hoodie. I'm in a dank basement, which just happens to be my other time studio. Oh, the sweatshirt. This, the drug rug. Yeah, this is my Mexican hoodie. What the hell are you talking about, drug rug? This is literally this hoodie, poncho hoodie, has been with me for, I want to say, like 10 years. Okay, I've had this for a very, very long time, and is the most comfortable thing. Porque soy mexicano también. Así que, como mexicano, puedo estar usando esta ropa, señor. O señora, lo que tú quieras. I like the update in general. Small things here and there, but it totally helped the game. Like, it helped the game so much. Like, it went from, like, I can't believe people are taking Votan. That's how much it affected the game. Like, Votan be crushing it. Okay, bueno, así es, Mojas. Pump says, hi, hello, lol, lol, yes, lol to you too. Sindri has a question. He says, do you think Eldar need a bit more of a rebalance? Well, I think we'll know in about 2 more weeks. I think Eldar is still very strong. But they definitely are not like stupidly like I just shove crayons at my nose and table you. Like, they're strong, but you can like there's actually mechanics that you can use to beat them now, which is good. So that's my thought on that. Niall says, are there Drukhari models you would like updated? Yes. Beast Pack, Grotesques, Mandrakes, Court of the Archon, like all the Finecast stuff. And units you want added, considering new codex may come with new models, I hear? Oh, well, new models would be great. I'd love to see some of the old characters, but make them new, like the Baron, the Decapitator, who else? What's her name? The, oh my goodness, the Obsidian Rose lady. I don't remember her name. Anyway, she's like Vect's courtesan or something like that. That'd be really cool. Or like maybe some corrupted Wraith Guard style stuff, like corrupted Wraith Lords and Wraith Guard and like just tortured Soulstone constructs, because that's something that they do in the Dark City, which is kind of creepy. Give you something else, but that's like what a Grotesque kind of like fills the role of. So we'll see as well. I've been trying, says Kai, new various Dark Elder HQs, but none are terribly impressive. Nope, they're not. They're just there. There's nothing like to write home about. What do you think our 8-bit HQ is right now? The Homunculus. Precision, decent anti-infantry. I think the precision is what I like the most, and D3 damage, so he has the potential of doing quite a lot of damage in close combat. Mohast says, what are some of the best and worst implications of list building being more flexible? What do you mean list building being more flexible? As in, like, the only restriction is you have to take a single character in 10th edition? That's a good question. I think there's a variety of things to be said. I think what it means is you have to have it's a little harder because you have to have a concept of what you want to do. Now, folks who've been playing in Age of Sigmar a lot understand this, where they're like, ooh, they see like a character's aura or a relic or something that they want to sort of build an army around. And when it's so, you can kind of build units that'll build off of your combo, right? So it's kind of cool to be able to do it that way, and it's not as restrictive as in like you have to take an HQ, you have to take 2 troops, you have to take all that stuff, right? However, some armies don't have as much flexibility because of lack of units and models, etc., etc. So it's pros gives you a lot of creative like license, and cons it's hard to balance everything when you can literally take anything, right? And so it's a lot more work on their part. Pomp says, coating Gantz, give me your strength. Yeah, good luck. And also, if you're playing a horde of Gaunts, then you should be ashamed of yourself. Also, for some reason, the bit rate's going up and down. So sorry if it's just like a little bit wonky today. I think I have no idea what's going on, but you know, just the replay should be fine as well. Lady Malice. Thank you so much, everybody. That's who it is. Lady Malice. What do you think of Ravenwing Army in competitive 10th? I've been playing for 2 months with my pure Ravenwing list and haven't won much, says Trevor. I think Ravenwing have potential. I think the thing is you sort of need that sort of like Deathwing Knight like anchor. But like you need something to replace it, maybe Dreadnoughts or something. I don't know. I feel like it's hard to play unless you're playing like a multiple small unit, just like a bunch of little units of bikes everywhere. It would warrant some extra testing, is what I'd want to say. I want more Mandrake type units, yeah. With 10th edition, no more jumping through arbitrary hoops. Yeah, it seems like it's going to be an interesting edition to ride in. What if it's Gaunt's Ghosts? Yeah, you know, that'd be really cool. Gaunt's Ghosts in a Drukhari army? Oh my gosh. Also, second part of the question from RPG Luminary. What is my favorite pizza topping? Okay, hold your horses. Are you ready? Hawaiian. That's right, I like pineapple on my pizza, and all of you who don't like pineapple can go eat pineapple. That's right. It's delicious. Ham, pineapple, cheese on pizza, and I put a little bit of ketchup on it. Delicious. Okay, it's absolutely delicious. And you can, I'll fight you. I'll fight you all. Sindri says, sorry I don't play Dark Eldar. I just like watching your streams, Scary. I need no more armies. It's all good. You can play, you don't have to play Dark Eldar. You know what I mean? That's right. Much respect for Pizza Choice. Boom! Team Pineapple. Right here. Respect the... How many Tantalus is too many? Well, 4, because you can't take more than 3. Right? That's too many. Pineapple on pizza is amazing, only improved by also adding jalapenos. Jalapenos on pizza. Delicious. Okay, next question from the patrons. Meadows asks, how do you feel about Raiders right now? Venoms are so good. What is the role of Raiders? Great question. It's to pillage and raid. Look, Raiders are good, but I feel like they're the more situational one than a Venom. Like, Venoms are going to be more commonplace, but if you take a Raider, it's like you take a... It's like you have to have a specific idea as to why you are taking a Raider. In the case in point, this battle report I played today, I took a Raider so I could have 10 witches with Lilith in a Raider in Deep Strike. That's why I took a Raider. I want the Decapitator back as well. There's such a cool concept, that Mandrake hero character, lone operative, like assassin. Like, imagine with the crazy injection molds they have nowadays, how cool. Like, look at the Death Leaper. Like, the Death Leaper with all the cloaky stuff, you know, and it looks so amazing. Just imagine, like, a Dark Eldar, like, fiend-looking fire mandrake with a giant clave. Just looks at you and goes, I'm going to take your head off because I need it for my collection, you know? Oh, so cool. So cool. So, that's what I think, Meadows. Raiders are sort of like the specific thing that you take as a, like, you can go, okay, I want a gunboat raider. So then you take 2 Venoms, you split 2 units of Cabalite Warriors, put the Cabalite Warriors with rifles in the Venoms, and then you put all the Cabalites with guns in the Raider, and then you have like a really cool gunboat with 3 Dark Lances, a couple of blasters, like a whole bunch of stuff in that Raider. So that's why you take a Raider. It's like a very specific gunboat Raider. You take a raider so you can mix and match things and go, well, I want to have my incubi in the raider, but I'm also going to take racks inside so that when the raider dies, I can put the mortal wounds on the racks and they have like a feel no pain or whatever. Perfect. So then you're taking a raider for a specific purpose. Whereas I think venoms are just good. So, and then the ratio should be like 3-to-1. At least 2 venoms for every 1 raider, or 3 venoms for every 1 raider. That's just my thoughts. Do that as you may. Helion's battle line. Yeah, that'd be cool. What's with the raider hate? Raiders move 20 and laugh at night spinners. Yes, raiders, they move. It's just you have to move them around. And, now raiders are more in vogue because you can hide them behind buildings, even with their giant sails against like things like knights and whatnot. So I think there will be a resurgence of raider love. But venoms are just amazing. They're just so good. Klaviks look great. Yeah, Klaviks do look great. They're really good. On to the next question. Pump asks, what are your tips on learning 40k to newcomers? Nice. If you would limit the rule set, what would the stages be? Right, so if I were to sort of trickle feed the game to someone, well, first of all, I wouldn't worry about stratagems, really, if I just wanted to teach them game mechanics. Just forget about stratagems. Just teach them like the cards. Like take a bunch of units, like an HQ. Like just keep it simple. Keep like a couple of units with attached characters and like combat patrol. Yes, that's great. Start with a combat patrol and don't even worry about stratagems or enhancements. Just put the models on the table and play so they learn mechanics, movement, shooting, and then once they get comfortable with that, then you go, well, did you know that you could re-roll that dice with what are called command points? That sort of thing. So you've got like, I think when you're teaching 40k newcomers, so I guess what are your tips on teaching 40k? Keep it simple, don't overcomplicate things, and let things slide. Okay? Doesn't have to be perfect. You don't want to get nitpicky on the rules with a new person because they don't give a flying fadoo about the rules. Okay? They just want to learn. And then eventually you can be like, oh, by the way, we did that wrong or this wrong, or you're not. But don't be nitpicky. Play with a few models. Don't try jump in too big. And don't do stratagems or enhancements. Unless they really, really want to, because they won't understand like the concept. Like teach them movement, shooting, charging, the basics. That's it. Maybe don't even worry about terrain. Just put things in the way and play. They're like, oh, I could. If they want to walk around the wall, they don't know what breaching is or whatever. Who cares? Just teach them, by the way, you could walk through walls if you want. Oh, no way. That doesn't make any sense, that sort of thing. So, yeah, I'm thinking just simple profile, maybe unit ability. Exactly. That's what the cards are great for. The index cards, fantastic for that. But thank you very much for posting your questions. Now it's time to dive in to what I like to call List Crunch. That's right, this is from last week. Pow! There we go. Changing the whole topic here to List Crunch, where we start every Friday with a happy dose of List Crunch-Os, which are delicious, and they're very nutritious for a gaming diet. List Crunchos. Okay, let's dive into it. So, Martin Summerton put in a list. Dark Angels. So it is a Dark Angels Gladius Task Force. So you're playing Space Marine, but green. Azrael, good. Judiciary, good. Librarian, yeah, in Phobos armor, good. Primaris Lieutenant, and Samael. With, I guess he doesn't come in a land speeder anymore. He only comes in on his jet bike, which makes sense. Assault Intercessors, 10 of them. That's a big, chunky Assault Intercessor squad. The sergeant can have a power fist or a thunderhammer. I highly recommend that you model one on there because it's kind of better than the chainsword in a lot of ways. Then we have the 5 intercessors. It is a unit that you don't see very often in Space Marines, but I really, really like having the sticky objectives mechanic. My intercessors in my Black Templar army do so much work for me, so much work. Then we have a large unit of Blade Guard veterans, 6 of them. just to kind of bully the middle of the board. A Brutalis Dreadnought for some long-range firepower. A Drop Pod. 2 Infiltrator Squads, one of which, of course, will have the Librarian of Phobos armor to keep them like lone op, keep them hidden. That's very, very good, like little combo. A 6-strong Outrider Squad, nice. A Repulsor, big Repulsor. I'm assuming that's where the Assault Intercessors go in. And a Storm Raven gunship. I have not seen a Storm Raven gunship in forever. That would be the one thing that I'm like, what is the point of the Storm Raven gunship? You know, I guess Samael goes with the Outriders? Question mark, question mark. One Infiltrator Squad goes by itself. What the heck goes in the Drop Pod? The Assault Intercessors? Or I feel like I'm missing, you know, a Devastator Squad or something here. But I could be wrong. You've got a little bit of shooting, got a little bit of combat. Got, you know, I feel like I feel splitting the 2 units of Assault Intercessors into 2 units of 5 would probably be better. Gets you a second Thunderhammer in there or Power Fist. And it gives you more units to do things with. And I think that's very important in Space Marine Army because you don't really have a lot of units to do stuff with. I don't mind the Blade Guards as a big 6-man. You know, that's pretty good if you want to do it that way. On that, I give it a B. Imagine if I started ranking everybody's lists. Ugh. Tier system. No, I don't do that. I just give you food for thought. And if you want to participate in List Crunch, you can. Scourge, Trueborn, and Incubi patrons can submit a list every week, and I will read them like this, go over them, give you my thoughts. You can ask questions about list building specifically. Today it is a mixed, like List Crunch Meta Monday, or Monday, the Monday show, all kind of crunched in together. And it's a fun time. Of course, if you haven't already, like the video, comment down below with your favorite thing that we've talked about so far, or if you'd like to see something specifically, and or share the video with your friends. Why? Because the algorithm says so. We all bow to the almighty algorithm. Paul Radcliffe. Happy Crunchos Day. Yes, well, technically that was Friday, sadly. But we're here now. Apparently someone ran a list similar at Charity Hammer a few weeks ago and went 5-0. It looks silly, but kind of crazy. I did read it, it's pretty neat. 6 rhinos, each with Plague Marines. Some have Icon Bearers to spread contagion. Also, the Biologist Putrefier to use the grenade strat. Again, I almost have all of these models, just need 1 more rhino. I will say, Paul, I read this list, and I was like, this list, having played against Luca's Plague Marines, makes me nuts. It's just crazy, in my opinion. I really like lists like this. Like, MSU is my bread and butter, right? MSU is just so good. So we have a Biologist Putrefier, Death Guard Icon Bearer, 2 of them. I didn't know that they were an HQ choice. Interesting. Foul Blightspawn, 50 points. Mortarion, 325 points. Nice. And Typhus, 100 points. Yeah, that makes sense. Good amount of characters. I guess the Icon Bearers, the one thing was like, well, that's 90 points. Could you spend it on something else? Maybe. But I guess if you're really doubling down on the Plague mechanic, sure. Foul Blightspawn is great for fights first. Typhus is really tanky. And the Putrefier really helps as well. So then we have 6 units of Plague Marines. 5 strong. Plague Marines, for what you get, 80 points. For 5 Plague Marines with all the weapon upgrades, the high toughness. Like, they're very well costed for what you get. Like a Space Marine body, T5, that spreads contagion for 80 points. Like, and then, in contrast, yes, they don't have, okay, fair enough, they don't have Oath of Moment and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong. But it's 85 points for an Intercessor squad with, like, bolt rifles. And I think here, I guess you could take, like, a Power Fist on the Sergeant. But, like, you get 5 of these dudes with Plague Weapon, 2 Plasma Guns, right? A Blight Launcher, Plague Knives, and access to some really cool stratagems. In my opinion, Plague Marines are one of the best troops in the game. 6 Death Guard Rhinos, Havoc Launcher, 2 Combi Bolters. Awesome. Get some good Mortal Wounds stuff in there. I love it. And then a 20 block of Poxwalkers to go with Typhus. excellent choice. And then 3 units of 9 Nurglings. Oh my gosh, that would be so annoying to get through. And their battle line. Well, not that it matters, but they can infiltrate. They literally get up the board. They're really annoying. And there's so many wounds to get through. Ah, they're just so annoying. And then by the time you've cleared through all of those, you have to clear through 30 Plague Marines, and then you've got the 20 Poxwalkers. This list, I would enjoy playing this list. It would be crazy, in my opinion. I think that is a very good list. It's just like it doesn't really kill too much. It just stops you from scoring any points. It has the ability to kill some stuff, right? It can lower armor saves, can make it hard to you, like minus weapon skill, minus ballistic skill. I can't wait to see what you do with this poll, but it's cool. And if you don't have a Rhino, like just drop a Rhino for what, 75 points, and then add in something else, whatever. So, it says it's 1960 points. Like, and you have what, 575 plus 40 points. It's 115 points. You could add in, I don't know, a Plague Mower or something. Sounds really fun. Yeah. Let me know how it goes if you're taking it. There's a tournament at the Tabletop Forge on the 7th. You should come up for that. Come up, play some games. I won't be there, sadly, but everybody will be here playing. Pomp says, here is my first Tyrannid list. Picked color scheme today, going with old school Kraken. Oh, nice. I like the old school Krakens, a blue and red or something. I split the Leviathan box, got some extra 10 Noros, 40 Gaunts, Rippers, and a Prime. Cool. So I felt like it was leaning to Endless Swarm. Yeah, we're just saying you were building and painting those right now. All the power to you, Pump. Yeah, just saying. That sounds like a lot of work. I don't envy you. What detachment could you opt for if I were to expand to 2K? What unit should I look after? I honestly think the Tyrannid Horde list is probably the strongest for team play, especially. For singles, it's still Tyrannid Horde, but maybe with the Synaptic Nexus. Maybe, I don't know. I still think the Horde is the best. Neuro Tyrant, 2 Wing Primes. That's the one thing I'd probably drop is the Primes. Like, you don't need the Primes. Put more Gaunts in. 6x10 Gaunts. I would take maybe 2 units of 20 and 2 units of 10. I think that would probably be better. 2x10 Neuros. I like that a lot. A Psychophage. Good. It gives you a feel no pain. That's another one that I'd drop maybe for a if you get a what are they called? The Exocrines. No, the Malice. The ones that have the big tentacle eater thingies. Those things. And a Screamer Killer. Screamer Killer is 170 points? No. Really? That expensive for one model? All in all, I think, you've got I think Zone Throws would be good for an invul save, a unit of 3, and then the Venom Thropes to give the negative modifier to hit, that be in cover, that sort of thing. I think that would be like where I would start. And then some shooting. You need some firepower, so a Biovore, Neurolictors are really good. So is the Death Leaper. Like, there's some really cool options out there. And then, oh my goodness, what is the name of that monster that I'm thinking of? The one that like eats you with the crushing, like the little tongue and the shoveling claws. Someone's gonna help me with this. Anyway, you know exactly which one I'm talking about. It's not an Exocrine. It's a something else. Vincent Reed says, hello, Scary. Hello, Vincent. Can a skimmer fly over runes when it fits with its base through the movement, but it doesn't with its model? Though it ends the movement outside of the runes? Much appreciated. Fits with its base, but doesn't with its model. If the model fits, it goes there. If it doesn't fit and doesn't have enough movement with spinning and trying to avoid the building, it can't go there, right? That's just, I usually, respects. Haha, yes, there you go. Thank you, Ray and Trusty. You've all got my back. I really appreciate it as well. Hopefully that answers your question, Vincent. Okay, on to the next. That's a good start, Pump. I think you start there, kind of move on from there. Get some like support units and then some kill units. Exocrine, Haruspex is something that can go and do damage, like go kill. Malicept is not bad with the amount of shooting they have either, but Zoanthropes, Venomthropes, Haruspexes. I think that's like the things that I've seen most in a Biovore. You need a Biovore because just being able to seed spores to get points right now is just, why wouldn't you? It's just so good. On to the next list. Hell Jumper says, "Hey Scary, here again with my Iron Hands list. I opted to drop the second Infiltrator in favor of an Incursor Squad. Yep, dropped the Repulsor Executioner for a third Gladiator. Lots of shooting. So I could fit a second Phobos Librarian, so now I have an Incursor Squad to mark units for +1 that can't be shot at, and losing the Repulsor Execution for the Gladiator I don't think was a huge downgrade. 2,000 points on the nose. Mwah! Chef's kiss for the 2,000 points on the nose. ¿Hablas español? Sí, Enforcer. Hablo español, soy mexicano. Mis papás son... Bueno, mi papá es español. De Cartagena, o cerca de Cartagena. Yo soy mexicano, pero también ahora canadiense y británico, porque mi mamá es británica. Okay. So we have Ironvar the Pharaohs, nice. 2 Phobos Librarians. The Phobos Librarian is the unit. There's a little secret full of you that I wish I could use as a Black Templar player. No! I wish I could use Phobos Librarians. They are so freaking good. Heavy Intercessor Squad. Oh, I do like them. Double Heavy Bolter. They're so chunky. 5 Intercessors for some good sticky objectives. I like it. Good, cheap, can do actions like cleanse and put up, like, do investigate signals, a bunch of little stuff. An Eradicator Squad. An Incursor Squad with a Haywire Mine. An Infiltrator Squad. Yep, makes sense. 3 Lancers, 2 Redemptors, and a Thunderstrike. This list has pretty much everything you need. The Dreadnoughts help you with a little bit of punchy. You've got a big block of Heavy Intercessors to hold the midline. You've got Intercessor Squads to kind of sticky objectives and do backfield objective stuff and midboard. And then you've got like your Skirmishers, which are like lone operators and things, so it's hard to get rid of them. They get you points. They're utility pieces. All in all, I really like this list. It's a lot more thinned, trimmed, and it works from the last one that we kind of went over. So let me know how it goes, but this list is like to a point where I would play 20 games with this list and just get really good with it, and I feel it has all the tools you need to win games. What's to stop you from using Librarian if you play Gladius? I know, High Ray. I know I could play a Librarian with a Gladius detachment. I know I could. It's the Black Templar Puritan in me that says, death to the witches. No witches. No heretic witches, even though technically the Black Templars do have librarians and they use, like, they navigators that they have on their ships are technically psychers, Heavy get a 5-up Feel No Pain from Iron Father as well. Ooh, that's spicy. 5-up Feel No Pain block of Heavy Intercessors is no joke. And then you've got the firepower, like the Lancers to crack open transports, the Redemptors to really kind of do their work. You've got the Heavy Flamer on them. I prefer the Little Gatling Assault Cannon, just to give me some more devastating wounds potential, especially when I've got, Oath of Moment going on something. So that's just, I guess they did, has anybody been following all the Space Marine things on the internets that they've been posting? It's been really fun to see. Suffer not the witch to live. Exactly, Marine Blood. You get it. Even if I can take a librarian, doesn't mean I trust him to take the librarian. On to the next list. A Blightling says, an Inari take on my playstyle. Ooh, very cool. So Illic Nightspear. I love Illic. Very, very cool. The Incarn. You take the Incarn. Okay, I'm telling you right now. Incarn, still OP. Still incredibly good. Ivrain. Good, has to be the Warlord. A Hornet, good for some Dark Lances. I would put Bright Lances on there, personally. 10 Rangers, that's a massive unit. I don't think you need 10, but 10 is pretty scary. 3 times 5 Shadow Specters. Okay, decent. I think you could probably put, if you could switch, like if you take 5 Rangers out, 1 Shadow Specters in, and put in try and fit in some Warp Spiders, for example, I think that would probably be better. Because I love Warp Spiders, they're so good. Especially when you have the Incarn, you kind of need the Warp Spiders or a Death Spinner or a Night Spinner just to shoot stuff out of line of sight. It's like the Incarn's calling card, where they're like, knock, knock, who's there? It's Incarn. Because they come in, they just pop something out of line of sight, boop, and the Incarn shows up. Make smile. Yeah, it's gonna the what they showcase for all the new Space Marine stuff is awesome. It is crazy cool. I was there just watching the preview, being like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. 10 Cavalry Warriors, excellent, especially with the Vrain. Gives them feel no pain, can bring them back. You can also, you don't have, do you have a Venom in there? You don't have a Venom, so you can't split them up, but I'd recommend a Venom. So you could split them up into 2 of 5 and have more little units everywhere. 2 units of Mandrakes, excellent. 3 Ravagers, excellent. 3 Scourge, excellent. So everything, Scourge are great. Reavers is the one thing you could probably drop, but they're still pretty good. And just make sure you have only 1,000 points of Cavalets and Dark Eldar. All in all, good list, lots of little crap. The only thing I'd recommend, try fit in some out-of-line sight shooting, like a Night Spinner or a D-Cannon, even though they're more expensive, just so you can shoot something you cannot see to get the Incarn to go where you want it to go. And so Warp Spiders or Night Spinner. Yeah, that's my thought process. And try to squeeze in a Venom. Venoms are very good, especially to split up the Cavalets. On to the next one. Cosmic, who's been doing a lot of work with Custodes. Custodes are in an interesting space because they have a lot of strength and power, but they are not overtly strong and overbearing as they were. You now need to play them with a little bit more skill in order to get the same results that you were getting. Before, it was about just bullying the middle of the board and just having 30 or 40 custodians, which you can still do. It's just they're not as efficient in terms of stratagems and unit character buffs because they're smaller units, and smaller units are a little bit more vulnerable. Still very powerful, but requires a little bit more time and testing. So time to chomp on some Custodes Ransane Surprise. What? Raisin, okay. Raisin Surprise. Yeah, for the list crunch. That's right. Raisin those shields. Dun, dun, dun. Raisin the guard. Dun, dun, dun. I'll let myself out as soon as I'm done. As soon as I've finished this video, I'll let myself out. Shield Captain with 5 Wardens with Spears and a Vexillate. Nice. Land Raider. Oh, I do like the Land. I think Land Raiders are just incredible. I think Land Raiders are one of those units where you can actually build a list around a Land Raider nowadays. They're only 200 and some points. They're super cheap for what you get. They're tough. They use cover very well because they're very chunky, especially when AP is not as good as it used to be. Vulnerable to devastating wounds, sure, but and they've got last cannons, which is something that Custodes lack. You could take, I guess, Caladius Grav tanks, but then you don't have a transport capacity. 5 Alaris, 5 Alaris, 5 Alaris. That's the new Custodes meta. If you want bricks, you take Alaris bricks. They are tough as freaking nails. They're so strong. 4 Prosecutors, Knight Centurion, 4 Vigilators, a Callous Assassin, 4 Henchmen. So this is your little crap units to score points with and stuff like that. Still toying with it, but want to see some thoughts on this. Land Raider is fitting for Terminators or Wardens depending on what needs delivery. Yeah, I think the Shield Captain with the Wardens and the Land Raider, excellent delivery choice. You can use all the little units to hold your backfield. You can deploy 1 or 2 units of Alaris and then, deep strike the third, and then the others can use their cool once per game ability to redeploy and get into position. I think there's a lot of play with that as well. You can still do some rapid ingress shenanigans, but those Alaris Terminators are money. Mark my words, they are so good. Definitely raising the standard in streaming. Really? This is raising the standard? Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I might not have as many as 1,000 people watching, like some more famous YouTubers, but what we lack in number of viewers, we have in positive, awesome, tight knit community, which I would not trade for the world. The fact that everybody who knows SkaredCast is on the same wavelength of positivity in the hobby, which I think is more important than having thousands and thousands of viewers and like hundreds of thousands of subscribers. It's about being true to your hobby, which I think is important, and being positive because we spend way too much money, time, and effort to be grumpy about toy soldiers. Yeah, Cosmic, I like it. I think the Land Raider is a great addition. Like, if anything, you drop the Land Raider for like one more unit of Wardens or something like that. Like, you can, it's like interchangeable, or Venatari. I think Venatari are very good. That's the only place where you could potentially switch it up, is maybe drop 5 Alaris and try and squeeze in 2 units of 3 Venatari just for some additional small units. They also have rapid ingress for free, which I think is very, very important. You know, they can use rapid ingress for free, right? In their data sheet. I think that's a very powerful stratagem. So there is wiggle room still in this list, I think, depending on what you want to achieve with your playstyle on the table. What do you want? A Valorak quality for more viewers? LOL joking. What? You mean like the channel? Yeah, sure. You know, like I don't really watch much YouTube at all. I create content. I'm not an influencer. I just make content that I enjoy, and I hope all of you enjoy it. And I try and teach you something every once in a while. That's like my main focus. Is if you learned something, you had a good time, and you took something from our conversations and my battle reports and whatnot. That's all. That's all I want, is to imbue some of my 20 plus years of experience. Just let you like take that and use it and enjoy your hobby, basically. Good day, mate. Awesome to catch you live. Hey, what's going on? Thanks for coming to catch me live. Appreciate it. On to the next list. But Cosmic, nice. I can't wait for our coaching call so we can go over it as well. Hi, Carl Ray. Chaos Knights. Ooh. 10 points left over, though. Epic fail. No, I'm just kidding. I'm totally joking, by the way. It is so hard, especially with knights and stuff, to be like right on the nose. Unless you literally go like, then you have to start from scratch and like, duh, it's just a mess. I wish they had like an easy way to like fill in 5 or 10 points in lists, buy a reroll for 5 points or something, that sort of thing. Vextrix, Chaos Knights, yep. So a Desecrator. I like the Desecrator, he's good. Stalker. Stalker, so double Stalker, those are the character ones. Then we have Brigand. Yes, then I like them, they're good. Executioner, so 2 Brigands, 2 Executioners. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, no. 2 Huntsmen, so 2 of each, basically. You've gone for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 10 small ones and a Knight Desecrator. Oh, like 14 small ones is usually what you kind of like run into, competitively speaking, 14 little war dogs. I do love the idea of having a big knight. I really do. I think a big knight just is so iconic when you're building a knight list. The little war dogs is great, but just having like, and he kind of buffs them, gives them a little bit of a buff, I'm pretty sure. And you've got a couple of characters in there. So you give up 12 points for Assassinate, bring it down, you give it up. But it gives you something that's not War Dogs. And it changes your target priority for your opponent. But you still have a lot of shooting. You've got the Carnivores for some crazy close combat pressure. You've got the Stratagem for moving through buildings. Like, I think Chaos Knights are in a pretty decent spot competitively. And I like this style of list. Now, if I were to change the list at all, I'd probably drop 1 Executioner and put in another Huntsman for the same amount of points, or drop 1 Executioner and put in another Brigand. I think Brigands are probably my favorite. They're the best. because they have what extra ballistic skill, they get the extra AP and stuff like that. Plus, that means you get to use up the 10 points you have remaining. And it'd be a nice, cool 2,000 points, which helps my ADHD. And I don't think you need more than one Executioner. I think one Executioner is fine. Just sits in the back, like 3 damage. Like they're more of a scary unit that can hold the backfield, and then you need something else that can go in and kind of do some more pressure close up and personal. Can't even find 3 for my World Eaters, let alone 14. I saw a fist fight over a box of them last month. What? That's crazy. Reminds me when I was a kid and like kids would stab each other over Pokemon cards or something. I remember seeing that in the freaking in the news. Man, that's nuts. No, I wanted that box of War Dogs. No, I wanted that box. You fudging guy, it's mine. No, it isn't. It's mine. What? If you can find a War Dog box, says Haikal. Okay, so I guess it's what you're telling me, or what I'm hearing, is that you cannot find these kits anywhere and you're stuck with what you have. Fair enough. Maybe you can convert something. You know, who knows? Chaos Knights, you could literally have tentacles coming out of them, being like, that's a Gatling cannon, that's a melt-a-gun, and they're little, you know, whatever it is. Cornelius says, finally glad to catch a stream. Hello, welcome to the stream. I ran 2 big knights and 6 war dogs with Nurglings and changed them yesterday and beat grey knights handedly. Nice. I do think big knights, like there's something to be said about building a list that has different layered target priority. This is a whole tactical thing that I could go into. But target priority, like if you run a list which has, like the Rhino list that we talked about earlier, still a very good list. But, you know, if you run a list with 6 Rhinos and 6 Plague Marines, the one thing that the issue that it has is that if somebody has an anti-tank weapon, they only have one thing to shoot at, which is Rhinos. So they're going to shoot at a Rhino. And so target priority becomes a lot simpler because they're like, well, which Rhino is in a position that I need to kill that's more important than killing any other Rhinos? But when I was like learning how to play the game and I would have like a land speeder, this was back when armor values were a thing. You know, I liked splitting my armor values to have like one of every kind of armor value. So I had a land speeder, which was armor value at 10. I had a Rhino that was armor value 11. I had a Dreadnought with armor value 12. And then I had like, you know, a Vindicator or Predator, which is armor value, 13 on the front, right? And then I had a Land Raider, which is armor value 14. And then, you know, and then an mix in between, which meant that your opponent's last cannon, you know, wanted to shoot the Land Raider, but, you know, they could have shot the Land Speeder. So it gave them, like, it meant that there was different layers to people's, like, strengths of their weapons. I think that's kind of like the same concept. Not necessarily so much anymore, but it gives your opponent a more of a puzzle to solve instead of just being like, well, you only have War Dogs, so which War Dog is the one that I need to kill? Instead of, well, you got a War Dog and a Big Knight, and I really need to kill that Big Knight, but I've got this, you know, it's just gives them more of a conflict to deal with. And I think that when it comes to building lists is an important thing to add, which is why, going back to that Nurgle list, I love the fact that you have the Plague Marines and Rhinos, but then you also have Typhus and a big unit of Poxwalkers. And then you've got 27 Nurglings, you know? It's like, well, you it's more pressure. Like, you feel pressured when there's that much shit in front of you. Anyway, moving on. Thank you for the list. I do like this list. That was high call. That was the only thing I'd recommend is, you know, make one a brigand. Yeah, make one of those executioners a brigand, make it 2,000 points on those, done and done. How many Nurglings is too many Nurglings? 28. Because then you'd have one more than you're allowed to have. Oh no, they're battle line. So you could literally have way more Nurglings than 27. But 3 units of 9 seems pretty crazy for like so little points. They're so cheap. They're like the old Scarab bases. They're so dumb. Okay, on to the next one. Phil asks, insights from Stud and Snotling. I got crushed by enemy indirect. Plagueburst crawlers from Death Guard, Imperial Guard. That is probably one of the biggest threats to Dark Eldar is indirect fire, just in general. Also struggle to kill enough big stuff to prevent my enemy from scoring and wiping out key units, again versus Death Guard and also Tyranids. Yeah, especially that big Terminator brick with the Death Guard. you know, or Mortarion can be really annoying to try and deal with for sure. So D Cannon is out because it gets targeted ASAP when it comes on the board. It's very squishy, sure. Ravagers should be able to withstand more enemy shooting. Yes, the Ravagers are very good for their point cost. DAs are out because all they did was stand on a point. What the heck is a DA? Dire Avengers. Yes, okay. I want to try out a Beastmaster to add early game pressure and screening. I had great success with my Beastmaster. Lastly, I wanted to try Haywire Scourge coming out of Deep Strike because it feels like if Dark Lances whiff, I don't survive to next turn against versus certain armies. I want some guaranteed damage versus vehicles. Devastating wounds on an anti-tank 4+ is not bad, especially when it's 3 damage each. So if you get 2 shots for each, was it Haywire? Is it 2 shots? You know, I think you do a decent amount of damage. I have to try the Haywire again. I haven't tried them in a while. The only thing I don't like about Haywire is that as soon as you don't play vehicles, it's kind of like pointlessly wasted. But all the power to you. Try them out. Like, let me know. Please let me know how it feels. Especially with, well, you don't have pain tokens, but you have the reroll to wound. So on average, you do more damage, I feel, because you have a reroll hit, reroll wound if you put them in an Ari. Wraithguard is still amazing, but smart enemies play around them. Yes, they do. You have to basically put them in the middle of the action and force your opponent to deal with them. Tie them up in combat. Still can't think of anything better for the points. They're still, you want them to play around them, and then your job is to sort of like anticipate that your opponent is going to play around them, and then sort of like counter their play with other units that then you force them to deal with while your Wraithguard go and do stuff that's just annoying, like stand on an objective or threaten their home objective and just run them right in the middle of the board or between 2 objectives. You know, you want those Wraithguard to be in a position where your opponent has to tie them up, has to charge them, has to do stuff, you know, to try and like do things with them as well. So let's take a look at the list, the new revamped list. Beastmaster, Farseer, Spirit Seer, the Incarn, Refrain. Cool. Cabalite Warriors. Yeah, I love it for sticky objectives and stuff with a Venom. Good, can split the units. Is what I recommended for the Inari list above. I think it's still very, very good. 2 units of Mandrakes, excellent. 2 Ravagers, excellent. 2 Scourge, excellent. 1 with Haywire, 1 with Dark Lances. Good, I like the mix. I think that works really well. 5 Shadow Spectres, 3 Wind Riders for some extra scoring, and a big unit of Wraithguard. I think the Dark Eldar add so much to an Inari list. Mandrakes, especially with their bouncing up and down, and then Ravagers and Scourge are just so good. I have a feeling they're going to go up in points again because of Eldar. Because Inari armies are just going to take them, and then they're going to make them more expensive, like they did with the Ravagers. So I think it works. I think it's good. Other than the Ravagers, I guess you could go Hornets if you get your hands on some, you know, 5 points cheaper for about the same. They're just like a cheap Ravager, basically. Or is it 15 points cheaper for 1 less Dark Lance? Or 1 less Lance, basically. Dread Naughty says, where can we find your Black Templar list? I've written a few Black Templar lists. I tend to post them on the Patreon page, like as a thing if I do a bat rep with them. You can DM me on social media, send me a message. I don't have one. I literally just build a list on the fly when I'm on my way to like mini wargaming. I'm like, what do I want to play today? Oh yes, I want to play some random crap I haven't played before, and then I get really into character. And I'll like get down. I'm like, trust in the Emperor at the hour of battle, and I'll like look at my opponent right in the eye and recite my vows. Yes, I'm a nerd, okay? Get over it. Scary, have you played Warhammer on Tabletop Simulator? What do you think of it? To answer that question, yes, I have. Being a member of Team Canada, or have been, I'm applying again this year. I use it all the time. I also use it as a great coaching tool. So with the Incubi patrons and people who want to like practice and play games, I use it as a tool to play with them from anywhere in the world. So definitely something that I use. I recommend it as a tool. It is definitely doesn't replace the tabletop gaming. It just enhances my ability to teach people. Is why I use it the most, and it's great for testing things. Dreadnoughty says LOL. Yes, I get it, the character, okay? TTS can seriously save money. Sure, if you play only on TTS. At the end of the day, you know, buying models, painting them, collecting them is why I enjoy this game, and playing them like on the actual tabletop is more immersive for me than on a TTS battlefield. But going back to your list, Phil, I like the list. The only thing I would probably switch there, not switch, but you've got some wiggle room if you want to save or trim points, making it Hornets and stuff. Of course, I know model availability is a big deal. I think the Beastmaster really helps to put some early game pressure and wave their arms around. It's also another fantastic way of summoning the Incarn to a specific part of the battlefield, which I think when you're playing Inari, like everything you use should in a way be a, this is an Incarn that's going here. What do you want to do about it? This is also an Incarn. What do you want to do about it? You know, that sort of thing. So, Stephen Burton says, running 2 Beastmasters in a tournament this week. Definitely love the 21 wounds. I think it's 20 wounds, isn't it? 20 wounds at toughness 4. And yeah, the 12-inch plus 9, so like the amazing like movement is incredible, especially if you go first. I have a list concept. Are you ready for this? 2 Beast Pack Masters. 3 10-man Cavalite squads with 3 Archons and 3 Courts of the Archon, 20 racks and 2 squads of 10, Urian and a Homunculus. Food for thought. That's literally the a concept I'm working on. I'm gonna run it. It's gonna be great, and we'll see how crazy it is. But thank you, Phil, for posting a list. I appreciate it. MRB19 says, Drukari, is there any notes here? Are there any notes? Updated it from pre-data slate to this. Went 94-94 against Imperial Knight Armiger Spam last weekend with it, which was an interesting game. Nice. I'm glad you had fun with it. Like Imperial Knights always, I find a very up and down matchup because sometimes it can just get crazy and sometimes it doesn't. You know what I mean? So it's really, really good. But let's go over your list real quick. Lane says, loving playing Dark Eldar more and more. What's your super competitive list? If you'd like to share, please go into a tournament start of next year and would love to take them. My latest battle report against the Space Marines that I posted is my competitive list. The link for the list is in the description. So go and click on that, and that's the list that I've been playing competitively. My Void Raven Bomber, the Beast Pack, everything. So check it out. It's a fantastic list. It's very, very good. So, MRB, Drukari. Archon with the Art of Pain, check. Homunculus with the Crucible, check. 3 units of Cavalry Warriors, check. 2 units of Rax, check. Raider and 3 Venoms, see? Ratio, Raider, Venoms, I love it. Just because you're awesome, keep up the... Oh, thanks a lot, Lane. Really appreciate it, man. Or thank you so much. The super chat means a lot. I don't get to do these very often, so thank you for your support, and thank you very much. That actually means a lot. I wasn't expecting that. Thank you. Kronos says, Kronos, yes, good. 2 units of Mandrakes, good. 3 Ravagers, good. A Reaver unit, good. And 3 Scourge, good. And a Solitaire, allied. This is very similar to my competitive list, except I have an extra unit of Mandrakes and no Reaver jet bikes. You know, I have only 2 units of Scourge. I still keep the Solitaire in there. And then I don't have the Raider. I don't have the 2nd unit of Rax. But I put in a Beast Pack Master. I take the Art of Pain away. And then I put in like a Void Raven Bomber. And that's pretty much my competitive list. So I love how you've taken that. Like you've taken your own like concept and you're running with it. Which is really, really cool. Cornelia Scary is indeed very awesome. Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. Kaz says, sweet. Didn't know Scary did live casts. Hey, Kaz. So for anybody who's just tuning in or watching just now, this is the List Crunch part of the Monday show. It's a bonus show I do for patrons every Monday and Friday. 2 different shows, so bonus content. Every once in a while, I do it for the public, so you can see what you're missing out on. Of course, supporting me on Patreon goes a long way to help me create content. So if you want more stuff and like the participation and access to the Discord and all that stuff, of course, the link is in the description. If not, that's fine too. Watching the video, participating with me, you know, really appreciate that too. And of course, liking this video, commenting to help the algorithm pick it up, sharing it with someone that, you know, might find this interesting. all goes a long way to support the channel and help me grow. Okay, sale pitch aside, everyone. Let's go on to the next one. Yeah, so I like that list a lot, MRB. It's very similar to mine. Got lots of little units, got good damage potential. I would miss the Beast Pack because I love my Beast Pack. My Beast Pack is just absolute money. I just absolutely love. The Discord is a fantastic community. I love the Denizen community Discord. The SkaredCast Discord is awesome. It's just so positive. We're just all so friendly and help out each other. It's great. Hi Scary, says Unstable Llama. I took your report on Void Ravens to heart. So I have included one in this list designed to be as competitive as Drukhari can possibly be. It's a good list, but we can make it competitively take on anything better. Can we make it better competitively? Okay. Oh, clicked on the wrong button. Edited. That is from the patron, the Discord thingy. Good. After a few games, I've discovered having so many shooting units burns pain tokens very quickly. Faster than I can kill units if they're large or only a few of them. As such, I've included 3 rack units as a first wave to draw out enemy units, earn tokens, and if they survive, contest objectives with double objectives secured. That is a very smart way of looking at it. I use my racks in the same way. They're literally a pain token battery when I'm running out of pain tokens. I want them to die. If they were to use hex rifles to kill a unit for 2 tokens, that's a bonus. I do think I'm low on fast moving, objective taking units like Reavers though. Or do you think that holding midboard with mounted warriors will afford enough disposable minis to steal all the important primary points? So in my list, I use little units of Cabalites. That's what I use to steal objectives away, and they're in Venoms, or they're on foot. And I don't mind throwing away 5 Cabalites to have a Dark Lance, a Blaster. Like, I don't care. As long as my opponent is not scoring points, I do not care if they die. Let's take a look at the list here. So we have an Archon. Good. 3 times 5 racks. 4 times 10 Cabalites. So it's a chunky Cabalites. I feel like you can get rid of 1 unit of Cabalites. 3 Raiders, 1 Dark Lance, 2 Venoms. 2 Chronos, 5 Mandrakes, 2 Ravagers, 2 units of Scourge and Void Raven Bomber. Good. So you do have Haywire in there as well. So if you drop the cabs, 1 unit of cabs, and then take a Raider out, that's like almost 200 points. I would add in a Venom, and then probably a 3rd Ravager. That's kind of like the change I would quickly just on a whim make to your list. 3rd Ravager, 2 Raiders, 3 Venoms, 30 Cabalites, and that's kind of, if anything, I would even drop 2 Raiders. I don't think you need that many Raiders. 1 Raider, and then use those points to put in like a Beast Pack Master and another Ravager. And I think that would really give you some more play in the midboard, in my opinion. And then the thing here is you've got lots of 10 strong units of Cabalites. You need to split them into small units. And as soon as you split them into little units, it's a lot easier to throw them away on objectives. Because then you can put a lot more pressure on the midboard by having like so many units. It's hard for your opponent to kill them all quick enough to stop you from scoring points and denying points. I think that's the key. Lane says, Mandrakes and Racks are nearly impossible to find in Australia. They're the only things I need to get. I know. It's sort of bittersweet to love Dark Eldar so much right now because we're such a good we have potential to be such a good army. However, in order to make like a competitive list, you need all of these models and units that you can't find anymore. It's very frustrating. So unless you're like converting them or find them at a garage sale somewhere or whatnot, like you can't get them. It's frustrating is what it is. 1 unit of 3 Reavers for toughness 1 secondary came in useful. Otherwise, points can be used better in competitive. Yeah, so like Reavers are not bad. I just haven't used my Reavers because I've been using 3 units of Mandrakes. And they're cheaper. Like Mandrakes are cheaper than Reaver jet bikes. And I find people see Reaver jet bikes and they target them real fast. They're like, those things need to die. Same as mandrakes. So it works out. But other than that, I like the list. That's some food for thought. Unstable llama, if you can get your hands on some stuff. Void River Bomber, though, amazing. Scourge, if you can fit in. Yeah, I don't think you need more than 2 units of Scourge. I think that's fine. But that third Ravager, I think. You can also drop the. I've said this multiple times to variety people. I don't think you need 2 Chronos. 1 Chronos tends to be enough. Especially when you have pain token, like running out for pain tokens, you need more little units, you need more stuff everywhere. It might feel less efficient with pain tokens, but I find it's better just in general to have more shit all over the table. John Dale says, can I use Idoneth Deep King Thralls as mandrakes, add some chains, etc.? Sure. This is a hobby. You can literally convert the models as long as it sort of makes sense, and you can look at it and go, oh, are those supposed to, you painted them to match your army and you put some work into them and they're armed like, the same, like they're armed relatively the same. Like thralls, absolutely. You got a little blade and, I know green stuff with a little flamey thing coming out of their hand or whatever, or source a bit that's like, them shooting a little firebolt or something, from a D&D miniature. They are definitely the go-to unit to sub in for mandrakes, for sure. Okay, and last but not least, North of the Wall with some awesome Space Wolf love to finish out the list crunch portion of today's video. Is an Apothecary Biologist with Bolter Discipline. Nice. You know what that means? That means there's a big unit of heavy intercessors in here somewhere. Canis Wolfborn, 75, good. Wolf Lord on Thunderwolf, yes. Aggressor Squad, aggressor, okay, never mind. I said heavy intercessors, I totally meant aggressors, yes. Ballistus Dreadnought, good. 5 Fundraising Wolves, cheap stuff to hold the backfield. Infiltrators, Land Raider Redeemer, I love the Land Raider Redeemer. 3 units of 6 Thunderwolf, 2 Whirlwinds. Oh, I love the addition of the Whirlwinds. Are they 150 each? I'm sure they're 150 each. Once again, trying to refine many dogs. I love the addition of the Whirlwinds. You could change the Whirlwinds for 1 Desolation Marine Squad and then 50 points left over, but I love that you put Whirlwinds in this list. You've got the Wolfborn, Thunderwolf, right, to go in. You're not really taking too many points on characters, right? And I like this. A lot of Space Wolf players spend so many points on characters, which is really iconic, but then you have no points left for anything else. You got 1 Biologist, Canis, Thunderwolf, Lord, and that's it. You don't need more. Then it gives you more points for more stuff. If anything, I know that you want your 3 units of Thunderwolves, but you could drop 1 unit of 6 Thunderwolf Cav. I know, sacrilege. Hear me out. Take a Phobos Librarian, so you could take them with the Infiltrator Squad, and then use the points left over to put in, like Blade Guard Veterans or something to put into the Land Raider Redeemer. Something, just a food for thought, something to, give you something to think about. That would be a pretty good conversion, says Cornelius. Yeah, 100%. Those thralls make for a good conversion. Other than that, the fact that you have shooting, combat, mid-board control, infiltrators for some skirmishing, I think this has, and the big, I guess the aggressors go in the Land Raider Redeemer. So I guess don't worry about the Blade Guard Veterans. So maybe instead of that, maybe a couple of other Inceptors. Actually, yes, Inceptors with the plasmas that drop down nuke lone operatives, or go in and be able to get points in the enemy line and stuff. Very, very, very important. Hello, Orange Black. What's going on? Thanks for coming to hang out on stream. You caught us right at the end here, which is exciting. But thank you very much, North of the Wall. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of food for thought for your next list. So, a huge reminder to everybody watching. Of course, I do 2 bonus shows on Patreon. The Monday show, every Monday, like today. And the List Crunch show, normally on Fridays, where Scourge, Trueborn, and an Incubi patrons can submit an army list, and I will read it and give you my thoughts. You can ask questions. Well, you can always rewatch it, Orange. You can ask questions and all that stuff. I will be answering a couple more questions for a few minutes, and then we'll be heading out and all that good stuff as well. Cornelius asks, where do you think Hellions fit in with the current Drukhari meta? I feel like we need HQ on a Skyward to lead them. There is one change that would make Hellions, in my opinion, worth it, and that would be infantry keyword. Just let him go through walls. Please, just give him something to go through walls, so I can tuck him in a corner and keep him alive, and then they can go out and kill something. Like, that would be okay. You know, I would appreciate that. Maybe make them a little cheaper. You know, the HQ, sure. Maybe give them an HQ that has the infantry keywords, so then they can all go through or whatever. Anyway, that's my thoughts on Hellions. I do need to try them, though. I feel like I owe it to the Hellions to try the Hellion. Orange Black says, how does Drukhari fare against Custodes? I wanted to dip my toes into 10th with either Nurgle, Demons, or Drukhari. Drukhari is probably the more functional choice. Well, Nurgle Demons have some really cool builds. You know, they're very monotonous if you just play Nurgle, but you can ally them in with Chaos Space Marines, you can ally them in with Death Guard. You know, there's like, you've got options to, like, collection-wise and army build-wise. It's not like you're not focused on one thing. Drukhari are good into Custodes. Dark Lances kill Custodes. Blasters kill Custodes. But 2 Custodes guard will wreck your whole army if you're not careful. So you don't be overly confident. And if they have buildings to hide behind, you better learn how to use movement to your advantage to get the angles and shoot them before they punch you. But that's my 2 cents. Other than that, that is all we have for today. Huge shout out to all of you for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me, Skari, your grateful host. Huge shout out to the channel Patreons, without whom this is not possible. Thank you so much. The best way to support me is on Patreon. The link is in the description below. Join the Discord, get some bonus content, and help me create more amazing content. Other than that, I've been Skari, your grateful host, signing off until next time. Skari out. The Dark Kin. Bye, everybody.